the lovely, warm roastiness, the slight sweetness of a good roasted malt comes through in the mouth. Like right now, there's nothing more than I want than a big soft pretzel and a bit of spicy mustard to counterbalance.
Yeah, that'd be delicious. Hey all, Amanda here. Welcome to entry 71 of Great Beer Adventure. The recording of today's episode has set me on a path that probably has been a long time coming. And it also seems to be a thing a lot of people talk about doing. Carla Lauder, the beer babe, who we spoke to on episode 37, which can be found by going to greatbeeradventure.com/037. Well, she recently asked a question that likened today's topic to the non-beer world people claiming that they are writing their novel. Have you figured it out yet? Do you know what we're going to talk about? That is right. We are talking about becoming a Cicerone. I speak with Sam Brown and begin another beer adventure. Hey everybody, I am sitting here today with Sam Brown. He is a certified Cicerone, and we are at the Thirsty Pig in Portland, Maine. It's a bustling October night. It's super busy here, and the beer is flowing, and I think they're cooking onions. Can you smell that, Sam?
Yes, definitely a little sauteed onions.
Yeah, there is something going on that is delicious. So like I said, I'm here with Sam. He is a certified Cicerone, and he is with Pine State Beverage Company. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today, Sam.
Amanda, it's nice to be here. I'm honored and, pleased with the invitation to come enjoy a beer with you and talk to your listeners on your podcast. So tell me what question you have for me.
Well, first, let's start with giving the audience a little bit more information about you.
Okay. My name is Sam Brown. I work for Pine State Beverage Company. My title is the Director of Business Development. I like to tell stories, and I find that it's probably more interesting if you listen to this in a story fashion. But I've been with Pine State for almost 20 years. I'm an old fart at this point. I'm going to be 51 in December. Let's see. I grew up in basically Maine's Oxford Hills. I went to Oxford Hills High School. Oh, really?
Yeah, 99 I graduated.
Fist bump? That's awesome.
Bump, yeah.
That's so cool. All right. So I graduated.
Wait a minute. So do you know any of the Allens? Tammy, Tina, Rose, Dale? No?
Nope.
Paul Allen was the cop at one point?
I don't know that.
No?
I know some other Allens, but not that Allen.
Okay.
But so I graduated in 84.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of teachers that might have crossed over while you were there. Probably not many. But while I was in high school, I was engaged by some really great teachers there. Jim Cothy, who ran the Latin program. I took 4 years of Latin.
I think I remember that name, actually.
He may have been there he had two sons, the Cothys, who were twins. I wonder when they would have been, or where they would have been around you. But Hank Burns was my English teacher, and he taught me to write. So I fell in love with language. I was a thespian, and I still am a thespian, as a matter of fact. I guess that's a little bit about me right now, because I want you to be able to ask questions, because I want to see you back and forth. So
yeah, me too. I like that. I love finding people from Oxford Hills. It's such a small little area up there. I say small, but really it's 7 towns.
Oh, yeah.
It's
a large geography.
Yeah.
Norway, South Paris, West Paris,
Waterford,
Otisfield,
Harrison.
Waterford, Harrison. Harrison was where I lived.
Waterford was where I lived.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My mom taught at the Waterford Elementary School back a long time ago.
Yeah.
I would have been probably 9-10 years old, so that would have been like 1975.
Yeah, I wasn't when I went to kindergarten. Waterford didn't have their own kindergarten, so they shipped us to Harrison.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and my kindergarten teacher actually tried to make me a rightie.
So do you know the restaurant called the Old Mill Tavern in Harrison?
Yes.
I opened the Old Mill Tavern.
Really?
Yeah.
It's such a small world.
Yeah. And
have you ever heard of Warren's Repair in Waterford?
Where is that? Like right on the main drag?
Yeah, it's down like by where the gas station used to be.
And the water wheel there, the water.
Oh yeah, right before. Yeah, on
What's
the
that
right.
called?
Oh, it was a mill. I don't remember.
It's a water wheel. It's a water mill, basically. It's on the side of the road.
Oh no, that's in the other part. I know what you're talking about. No, if you go up the hill and back
so
down the hill.
In the village of Waterford?
I don't know. We're off topic.
I worked at the lake house.
Yeah, no, I bet. Yeah, Heidi was the daughter there. I was the same age as her. Okay, sorry, folks. A little reminiscing about home, I guess.
All about a tangent.
Yes, tangents are lovely. We go on a lot of them here on this show.
Oh, good. Well, beer makes you do that.
Yeah. But let's get right into where we're supposed to be now. We're supposed to be in round one, talking about the beers that we are drinking. Tonight, I'm actually drinking one by Orono. They were just in town bringing some beers down here, and it made me think, like, oh, I really want to try something by them, because they don't get down here all that often.
What's the style?
It's the Kilowatt.
Kilowatt is the name?
Is the name of it.
Do you know what the actual brew profile is?
No,
Well, this is where we get a little Cicerone geeky on you here.
I don't know. There's some citrus.
It looks like an APA, an American Pale Ale.
Wow, look at that, just by color alone.
Well, I mean, I would say that's probably 7 SRM.
Is that a coloring thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, what does SRM stand for?
Well, it's funny you should ask, but when I sat down, you said, geez, you have a lot of flashcards there?
Yeah, you've got at least an inch thick of flashcards.
Yeah, well, so look, what I came to this visit with in my mind was you called me because you learned I'm a certified Cicerone.
I did.
So what do you know about the Certified Cicerone program, and what do your listeners know about the Certified Cicerone program?
I am not sure what each of my listeners know. I know that you can properly taste a beer. You can learn a lot about it by drinking it. I'm guessing you know a bunch of the terminology that I am not so good. But the reason I'm wondering is because, so we're just going to do like round one and round two kind of together.
We're fading. We're going into both.
We're going to go to both.
That's good. It's very, that's organic.
Yeah, we just kind of do what we want to do here. We have this so we say that we have this format just to make sure that we don't spend 3 hours talking.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. We want to, because your listeners, we have to be respectful of their time.
Absolutely. So many people have said to me, you do this beer podcast, what are you going to do with that information? People that have no idea about the industry tells me to open up a brewery. And I was like, no, that'll never happen. And they're like, well, couldn't you help people taste beers? I'm like, oh, there's actually people that do that. There's Cicerones. I need to learn more about this. And that's what the Great Beer Adventure is all about, is I have this insatiable curiosity, and anytime I come up against something that I want to know more about, I find somebody that knows a lot more than I do. So that's you.
Well, awesome. And good for you for having a thirst for knowledge. It must be an Oxford Hills qualification. So
must be.
The Certified Cicerone program is a program founded by a guy named Ray Daniels. And I can get into a lot of weeds here, but let me try to fly over the top.
Okay.
Essentially, so if you go back to my story, aspiring thespian.
Right.
What do we do to make a living? I'm assuming you know that aspiring thespians want to be actors. I want to be a movie star. And the way you make a living when you're not making movies or trying to get a job is you learn to wait tables.
Right? Yeah.
So you learn to work in restaurants. I worked in some great restaurants, the Lake House among them, the Epicurean Inn in Naples. I worked in London. I worked in Minneapolis. I learned a lot about food and good cuisine and high culture and wine in particular. And my path took me to this job at Pine State Beverage Company after I opened the Old Mill Tavern in 1995. And actually it was 97 when I started with Pine State, and I started as a sales rep selling wine. And now this time of life, you were 14 years old, 15 years old.
Yeah.
There was a great energy and sort of curiosity about the public at that time, about wine in particular.
Right.
There was an excitement for wine in the 90s that is equivalent to the craft beer energy that is happening right now.
Yeah.
So I tell people I got on the elevator at the bottom floor and I climbed in, and I've just been riding this really fun trip in the beverage business.
Yeah.
Started as a sales rep. I learned all about wine. And if you look at my card, it says Sam Brown, CSW, Certified Cicerone.
Yeah.
CSW is not a certified social worker.
Is it sommelier?
It's a certified specialist of wine, as recognized by the Society of Wine Educators. So what that means is in my business, being in the wholesale end of things, as a distributor, there was a desire to create qualifications and certifications around comprehensive wine knowledge.
Okay.
So this was the development of the CSW, Certified Specialist of Wine. And it requires...
Is that similar to a sommelier?
It is very similar. The difference is that sommelier is really specific to the restaurant world.
Okay.
And the demands of a sommelier are very different than the demands of a certified specialist of wine. In my role, I work with suppliers and importers basing on what they're importing, when they're importing it, how they're importing it, where they're distributing it. There's a lot of different questions that you need to know
So it's
in
not
that role.
necessarily about taste?
Well, no,
I
it's
mean,
very
you do
much about
know
taste.
About taste, but I mean, like...
It's more than that.
Oh, it's more than that.
As a sommelier, your primary responsibility is to know the world of wine and your wine list and be able to sell it on a hand sell basis to a customer on the floor, and also to buy wines and put together a nice list. In the distributor realm, you need to have maybe, I wouldn't say one is better or worse. They're both very important, but sommelier is more specialized to the restaurant world. Certified Specialist of Wine, or CSW, is more geared or specialized toward distribution and that other side of the business.
Okay.
So, point being, the Certified Cicerone program is essentially the equivalent of, really, it's probably more, it's about the same as sommelier or CSW.
It depends on what industry, kind of?
Well, the point is, but Certified Cicerone is within craft beer. So what's happened in this evolution of the craft beer movement, and America is awakening to beer.
Right.
There was a need in the industry to set a bar, if you will, for degrees of understanding and knowledge about beer.
Yeah.
Because it's incredibly complex.
Right. But yeah.
As a student of wine, you know, I meet a lot of people. Do you know anything about wine?
Very little. I watch some wine shows, and I know that terroir is a thing. And I understand that it's really about the flavors of the place and what the different elements, whether that be the sun, the wind, the rain, the soil composition, really changes the terroir of... I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right.
You're spot on.
Okay.
Terroir. En français. Terroir.
And it changes the grape. So you can still have a grape, the same exact kind of grape in different places, but they'll taste different.
Spot on.
That's all I know, though. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you. I think, like, Pinot is a type of grape.
It is.
Okay. That was a
I
guess,
love it.
though.
We're doing beer talk and wine talk at the same time.
And then beyond that, I know just, like, a dry is not as sweet as a sweet? Or what's the other opposite of dry?
Sweet or fruity.
Okay.
Or off dry.
Okay. So, yeah, that's all I know. I haven't had a lot of wine, so I can't even tell you what I really like for wine. I know that I like drier flavors in my beer, but other than that, that's where I end.
Yeah. Well,
terroir is my, like, piece de resistance, and that's it.
C'est fantastique.
Fantastique!
So, I guess the point I was trying to make is that the crossover in the world of beverage at the professional level for people who want to get serious about it and we call it, there's a term called cork dorks. These are guys who really know about wine.
Yeah.
And we call, there's beer geeks, right?
Beer geeks.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that's great. I love it.
So a beer geek, the more respectful and really distinguished term is Certified Cicerone. And I really encourage you and your listeners to go to the website, certifiedcicerone.com, or something like that. Everybody can Google.
We'll have a link in our show notes.
Perfect. And you can create your own profile, if you will.
Yep.
And they want you to do that. And your first level of certification is called Certified Beer Server.
Yeah.
Now, do you currently work in restaurants?
I don't currently work in restaurants, no, but I've looked into getting that, but I didn't know if it made sense for me to start or not.
I think for you as a student of beer, as a person who is promoting understanding of beer, it's called the Great American Beer Adventure.
Great Beer Adventure.
The Great Beer.
We are not.
I love it.
We are not stuck to America. We're taking over the world. We actually have a 2-step plan. Step 1 was take Maine by storm. Step 2 was to take over the world. We're in step 2. We've moved to New Hampshire.
Very good. Very good. That was awesome. I like from 1 to 2. That's quite a leap. So my point is, I would absolutely recommend that you go ahead and challenge yourself and download the syllabus for what you need to know for a certified beer server. When I first became a certified Cicerone, there were only 3. Was that me?
No, that was a little tiny fruit fly.
Oh.
They won't go away this summer for some reason. They just keep hanging out.
For those of you listening, you couldn't see, but Amanda went like this with a come hither look across her nose, like she was trying to draw some kind of aroma towards herself.
No, it was a get off my microphone, silly fruit fly.
Okay. So, my point was, I just want you to have a little bit of an understanding of what the Cicerone program is.
Yeah.
And do you know what a Cicerone is?
Other than knowing that you taste beer and you know about beer, that's all I really know.
You'll love this, okay?
Okay,
Especially
ready.
based on being that you're on an adventure.
I am.
Have you traveled?
Some.
Tell
Minimal.
me where you've been.
Okay, so my dad loves Disney, so much so that he would work every day for 2 years straight. I think he took off Christmas, but other than that, and then we would go to Disney for 10 days to 2 weeks. So I went to Florida a lot, but that translated into us going to both California and Paris because they have Disney's
you
there.
saw Disney in both those places?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
My
So
dad
when were you
grew
in
up
Disney
with
Paris?
2004, I think. Yeah, he grew
While
up with.
you were there, did you go to the Louvre?
Yes, I did.
You did?
I did, yeah. See, the thing is my dad isn't really into anything other than the Disney. He loves the rags to riches story.
Sure.
And he owns his own business, he owns his own house, and he grew up with nothing.
Mr. Dowdy.
No, I married into the Dowdy.
Oh, okay.
Name, Warren.
What's
Mr. Warren.
Warren, you said that. Yeah, okay.
So he was only interested in Disney, but then when I got him there, I was like, Dad, we're in Paris, right? So
We got to see a few
Right.
more things, and it's like going to a French restaurant and ordering a Big Mac.
yeah, which I did that in France because they have one on Disney properties. And I think I ordered a beer while I was there too because I was like, ooh, they serve beer at their McDonald's. I think they do, right?
One redeeming quality.
Yeah. We did. We went to the Eiffel Tower and we went to the Louvre while we were there.
Cool.
And then,
You're supposed to say, what's the point?
oh, what's the point?
Well, my point is, having traveled, when you went to the Louvre, did you tour it by yourself or did you have a guide?
We just toured it by ourselves.
All right. So this is the point of Cicerone.
Okay.
The term Cicerone comes from England.
Okay.
And if you were to go to England, and this is really a term that comes, of course, there is the derivation, the Latin derivation of Cicero himself, who was a poet. And at some point in time, a cicerone becomes more of an English word. A cicerone is a person who has the ability to take you to either an archaeological site or a museum. So think the Tate Museum or Stonehenge,
Yeah.
and give you a tour of that site and point out the important historical elements, the backstory, the why, the how, be the real tour guide for a particular piece of artwork, or like what is the what do those big rocks at Stonehenge? What do they mean? Like,
Right.
it'd be nice to have somebody there who could say, "Well, let me tell you why they did this."
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to just, it's a very different thing to go as a tourist and just be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." But if you go with Cicerone, you're introduced to things you hadn't thought of.
Right.
You're asked to try things maybe you haven't tried before. You're brought down a path that you might not have gone. You know, a particular work of art is explained in a way that maybe when you looked at it, you didn't really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
But once it's explained to you in terms of the historical context of where it comes from and why it was developed and what the ingredients are, I'm crossing over now to beer, you go from, gee, I never thought I'd like that kind of a malty lager.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's really what the Cicerone concept. So the term Cicerone, before it became the certified Cicerone program, that is what a Cicerone is, and that is what Ray Daniels based his program on. So
I like it. I
yeah.
like it a lot. Makes me feel like I probably should get my certified Cicerone.
You'd become
What is it
you
called?
would start. So when I first started the program, there were 3 levels: certified beer server, certified Cicerone, and then master Cicerone. Put this in perspective. So certified beer server is not an easy hurdle to jump. I think it's 100 questions. You'll want to prepare for it before you take the exam. But I would say there's probably, I have no idea. I mean, tens of thousands of certified beer servers in the country.
Okay.
Many restaurants and craft beer focused establishments, and more so in the Midwest. This program developed in Chicago. I actually had somebody say to me this summer, I feel like the craft beer scene in Maine is really cool, but it's about 10 years behind the West Coast. And
They haven't been here lately, then, have they?
no, they've been here as of
Really?
this summer. And I totally agree with him as a craft beer Cicerone.
Really?
Yeah, and no disrespect to everything that's going on. It's amazing. The innovation, the thinking outside the box, the development of homespun local brands, the stories, the collaboration. It's all amazing. And there is still a lot yet to be defined. But in the Pacific Northwest or in Chicago where, Sierra Nevada was founded in 1984.
Right,
It's the first craft beer. It was like, what's that, 40... No, help me out. 32...
84, that'd be
32 years ago?
32 years ago, yeah, because...
So,
35, 32.
It's quite a bit more developed.
Right.
But the main
Our
point,
big boys are 20 years old in the past, this year or last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So I only mean to compliment.
I'm just saying that, they're a good 12 years behind us.
It's just a different part of the evolution of a business, if you will.
Right.
So what's the point I'm trying to make?
We're 10 years behind. Cicerone's in establishments.
Oh, so that's my point. Yes, thank you. Is that in establishments on the other side of the country, there are many places that require CBS or certified beer server for people who are interviewing. That's evolving and coming here now.
Right.
That's my main point, is that the understanding and even knowledge of Cicerone is still fledgling here. When I was certified as a Cicerone in 2014, so it's been almost 2 years, and when I got certified, I felt like it was like the sound of one hand clapping in some ways. Like, you contacting me to ask about it is... I've had more people who are interested in it this year than 2 years ago when I was certified. So that anecdotally tells me that it's a little bit true. And I think it's great, because the Cicerone program challenged you to do, and what this stack of cards is all the beer styles. So you have got to know, let me tell you what's involved here. You got to know SRM.
Okay, so you were going to tell us what SRM stands for.
I will. IBU, ABV, accepted ranges for all beer styles, and then also be able to name commercial examples as recognized by the Beer Judge Certification Program. So on one level, this program is a little geeky and I can get annoyed with it, but I do like what it challenges you to do.
Yeah.
I think it's important. And I'll tell you the reason I think it's important when we get to the end of the interview.
Okay. So I did really good. I got IBU, International Bittering Unit, and ABV, Alcohol by Volume. But why haven't you told me what SRM is yet? Why are you holding out on me?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to. These three ranges, there's a fourth one which is original gravity, but it's not required knowledge for the Cicerone program. So SRM is the standard reference method. Okay? And this is the measure of light through a beer as measured by a photospectrometer.
So a lot okay, all right. So the Cicerone...
What cracks you up about that?
Okay, so it's the light that can go through a beverage.
No, it's not. No, so it's not so much the light that can go through it. Basically, what's important is the tool, which is the photospectrometer or the spectrophotometer, depending on your persuasion. And I'm dyslexic, so I'm pretty sure it's the spectrophotometer or photospectrometer. It's one or the other. Okay. But basically, it's a measurement of light through a beverage. So it's not the light so much. It's ultraviolet blue light, I believe, that they use. But you hold it up to the light, and the tool measures the light passing through the beverage, and that gives you a measure. It's a scale. I happen to have an awesome resource here if you want me to pull it out, because I'm gonna plug. This is Randy Mosher and a book called Tasting Beer. Do you know it?
I don't think that I've looked at that one yet, no.
Okay. I'm giving him a shameless plug here because...
Fine, we'll put links in the show notes. This
is the most important reading that I did. I did a lot of reading in preparation for it, but his is the foundation of what I engaged with. This is in 2008. There you go, case in point. This is an 8-year-old book. And this is also, when you go on this website and you look at the glossary, or what's the reference tools?
Appendix?
No.
I'm out of
sources. Basically,
sources. Okay.
When you check out Cicerone, they'll show you the syllabus of what's required, what you need, the knowledge you need to have.
Yeah.
And then they'll give you a few different sources that you can get the knowledge. One of the first sources they give is this book, Tasting Beer by Randy Mosher. So SRM measures the color in beer.
In beer.
Where the lower the number, the more pale the beer. Okay? So Allagash Wit is at like 2.5 SRM.
Okay.
Very, very, almost like white, almost slightly opaque, right? Because it's unfiltered.
Does that fit right in where it's supposed to be?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, when you go to the BJCP, which is the Beer Judge Certification Program, and you look at their guidelines for all beer styles, which is the Bible for Cicerone.
Yep.
It's geeky, I know, but you asked. If you pull up Belgian Wit as a recognized important style in the Belgian beer classification, the internationally recognized number one example listed on the BJCP is Allagash White.
Nice.
So Allagash is a perfect example of a Belgian Wit.
Okay, so the reason that I was giggling
Yes.
was thinking about like something like Reciprocal from Bissell Brothers.
Yes.
That's like orange juice.
Okay. I've never had it, so you're talking to somebody who's I've never had the beer.
Well, it's you can't see through it at all.
Awesome.
And it literally looks like orange juice. It made me laugh because it doesn't feel like that would be correct for the SRM. But am I wrong? Do I not understand the tool?
SRM, again, standard reference method.
Yeah.
What that is basically a yardstick for measuring the way a beer appears in terms of its color. Okay?
Right, yeah.
So there's a range of color in beers.
Right.
So you can't really be wrong. And I don't know the beer Reciprocal.
Yeah.
You're saying it's very orange in the glass?
Yeah, it's like a pale orange juice.
So do you know what gives a beer color?
I think it's the malt.
Yes, exactly. There are other things that can add color or enhance color, right?
Right, like
certainly if you're using fruits
adjuncts
or
and stuff,
adjuncts, and also I'm not a brewer. Okay, I'm a beer geek, but I'm not a brewer.
No, neither will I. Never. Don't worry about that.
But my thing is, you may have some of your listeners who are brewers, so I don't want to misspeak and have them say,
yeah. I'm just saying, based on our prior conversation, never going to open up a brewery.
Okay. But you can use a lot of ingredients in brewing beer.
Right.
You know, what's used in Allagash Wit is orange peel and help me, it's coriander. Thank you very much. So you're using a lot of. You can use. So I don't know what Bissell is using in their Reciprocal.
I don't know exactly.
But it would be interesting to talk to them and learn about it.
Yeah.
And the fact that if it's hazy or opaque, it's probably unfiltered. It may have some wheat in it as well to give it texture.
Right.
I don't know.
Speaking of texture.
Yes.
I noticed that you swish your beer. Like when you put it in your mouth.
Yeah.
Is that a leftover from wine or is that a Cicerone thing? Because I know that with wine you do that. And I actually did that with an Oktoberfest the other day, and I asked my husband, I was like, hey, have you tried this? This gets really, like, full when you do that. And he goes, why are you doing that with your beer? And I didn't have an answer for him.
Well,
so it was very interesting.
I love your question. And I think I do a lot of work in evaluation. I mean, one of my responsibilities at Pine State is to make decisions about things we buy.
Right.
So I'm really proud of my ability to evaluate beverages, and what's right for me is maybe not right for everybody else, but absolutely to chew the beverage, whether it's beer or wine, to move it around across my palate, in the sides of my palate, the fore palate, my tongue, to allow some aeration to happen. All of those things help to, it's like it opens the texture of it up a little bit, so that instead of it being this kind of closed, really focused thing that you can't really evaluate it. If you just take it through your mouth and just sip it and push it down, it's almost like you're kind of missing something a little bit, I think, because, like, look, I'm probably going to have one beer right now with you. So I'd like to slow down and enjoy it. So, yeah, I guess the answer to your question is I think your listeners should feel totally privileged. Now, I will say this. If it's a good beer, I'll do that.
Right.
If you serve me a American standard lager from any number of different producers that are basically things that you buy in suitcases, whose brands shall go unnamed.
Yeah, that's how we do it too.
But are brewed with corn and rice and hulls and like cereal and grains that are pretty sugary. I want it really, really cold, and I want to shoot it. Like, I don't want to taste it. I just want to shoot it down because I'm super thirsty and it's hot out and I'm at a party and I don't care. Right. But I would almost rather not even forsake those calories for that beverage. Give me a water and I'll wait till later and have a really good beer.
Things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Seltzer's fabulous.
So if you're drinking a really good beer, slow down, enjoy every piece of it.
Yeah.
Look at it, talk about it, smell it, muse about it, taste it, savor it, feel it. It's not just the way it tastes.
Tell people what you're drinking.
I know I haven't.
You were just like, I'm going to not do round one. I'm just going to go firmly into round two.
I'm skipping
and
to round two. or 3 or 4, whatever it is. So I wanted to show you. This is the BJCP guidelines. I have it on my iPad. So you can get a sense of, there's wit beer, Belgian beer, all right? This is all that's written about it as a style.
Yep.
And then you go to the end of it, and you have to know right here.
Yeah.
The requirements for the test are, you have to know the accepted ranges for the vital statistics, which are IBUs, SRM, and then ABV. You don't have to know original gravity or final gravity. They just have it there. It's really geeky. So IBU, accepted range for Allagash or for Belgian wit as a style. And then look, commercial examples, the first one listed is Allagash.
Yeah.
Before even Blanche de Bruxelles or Sealis or Hoegaarden.
I'm happy to say I've had a lot of those.
Good for you. You've been experimenting. So anyway, the beer I'm drinking, by the way, is the Spaten Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Because how could I not? They have it on tap. It's here. We're in October.
Yeah.
And for one beer, it's lovely. And actually, now that it's warmed up a bit, you can start to smell some of the richness, the kind of baked bread quality.
Yep, I get that.
That's a malty beer.
Yeah. Now, earlier, before we actually started this thing, you were talking about...
This transgression?
Yeah.
This tangent?
This whatever we call it.
Yeah, whatever.
We were talking about glassware. Do they really go into that in the Cicerone program? I'm getting yes. Big time yes shake.
Yes, you have to, as a matter of fact, there's a part of the exam where they'll show you 8 or 10 glasses, and they'll have sort of open spaces, and you have to, or maybe actually they show 8 glasses and they show 8 beer styles, and you have to pair the right beer with the right beer glass. I'm trying to find it here for you in the book. Yeah.
I just saw a picture of cheese in that book. Is that on the test too? Oh, wow. That's a lot of glasses.
Yeah. Food and beer pairing is another part of the exam. When you go to the website, you'll be able to see how they judge the exams.
Yeah.
It's a 4-hour exam.
Holy moly.
That's for this. So I was telling you, the levels are certified beer server, which is what I'm encouraging you to try.
Yeah.
Now they have recently moved to 2 levels of certified Cicerone, level 1, level 2. So when I took it, there were only 3 levels certified Cicerone. So I'm not sure where I come in now in the new paradigm, but I'm saying that I'm at the higher level because it makes me feel better.
Right.
But and then there's
Why not?
Then there's Master Cicerone, which I'll talk about momentarily. So thousands of certified beer servers. Just over 2,000 certified Cicerone in the country.
Wow.
So it's, I'm really proud of it. I worked really hard to achieve it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you asked about it because it's fun to talk about. And I'm also proud to say that we at our company at Pine State, because we're really committed to craft beer, have made it a priority. And the reason I'm certified Cicerone is because I was asked to become certified by Pine State, and I did.
Yeah.
And I've gone on now, and I've been educating our staff. And we have another certified Cicerone on staff. His name is Josh Porter. He was certified in July of this year. And I have 2 other associates who took the exam in September, and we're awaiting their results. And hopefully later this month, maybe before this airs, I'll be able to tell you that we have 2 more certified Cicerone on staff.
Fabulous. Well, good luck on the results to them.
Thanks.
And I got to tell you that I hear everything that you're saying right now, because when I decided... all right, I need to talk to a Cicerone. This is normally what happens. Okay, this is what I need to do. This is who I need to talk to. And I go out and I try to hunt them down. Right now I'm on the hunt for a nose, ear, and throat doctor because I want to talk to them too. So that's on my list.
Oh, interesting. That's kind of fun. Just from the standpoint of evaluating beer, you mean?
Yeah.
Cool.
And, it's cold season, so, when you get a cold and you can't smell anything, how does that affect everything? Yeah, but anyways, different tangent. So I started asking around, and I was like... hey, who knows a Cicerone? And a friend of mine said, I only know of one here in the state, and I can't remember his name, but he works for Pine State. And I was like, okay, that's enough. I can go with that. So I called up Pine State, and I was like, hey, so this is going to sound really weird. This is how I start all my conversations. I call the specialist for the nose use, and I was like, so this is going to sound really weird. And I said... I hear you have a Cicerone on staff. And they're like, well, yes, we actually have 2. Which one are you looking for? I was like, I don't know, the more charismatic one. And they're like, oh, you must be talking about Sam. I was like, okay. So that's how I found you.
Funny, because Josh is amazing. He's a really good person.
I didn't know who I was going for. I just knew that Pine State had a Cicerone.
I have a feeling he would have declined the interview.
Well, I'm glad that they sent me to you.
Josh's
instead.
last name is Porter. Josh Porter.
Yeah.
How ironic, right?
Yeah.
But do you know the story of Porter? Do you know why it's called Porter?
I don't exactly. I know that porters exist on trains and they helped with bags, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it. And the only reason I know that is because Johnny Cash sings about one.
Well, that's interesting, but it doesn't have anything to do with Johnny Cash, but definitely the porter that the beer style is named for is not the Johnny Cash train porter.
Hey,
but
porter.
It was from a time, during the development of, well, it was really during the Industrial Revolution in England.
Right.
And the ship workers, basically, the guys who worked on the docks, they were called porters.
Right.
So they would unload the boats. It's a very, very working class kind of a gig, down on the docks. And so the beer style that they preferred to drink, which was this dark, almost sweet, malty style ale, became known as the porter. And that's the story of porter. And it's also interesting because Josh is certainly, he's probably a little more, he's just a very different person than I am in terms of, he's a little bit more, he's a porter. He's a worker, man. He works very hard.
Does he wear the pea coat with the beanie down around? No. Oh, that'd be perfect. I'm going to get him one for Christmas.
Yeah, you should get him on. It'd be awesome. Josh, I'm calling you out right now because I'll be referring this to him. Actually, have you ever done an interview with 3 people?
I have. We've had multiple.
Oh, well, maybe what we can do, if they all get it, we can bring you the trio of Pine State Cicerone. And it'll be it'll be interesting. It'll be a different conversation, but
yeah, that would
we'll
be
wait
great.
and see.
We can talk about study tips because by then maybe I'll be going for my own.
Yes, and it will be good to share different approaches.
Right.
My favorite thing was I had a big, and I still have it. I have it at home. I meant to bring it, but I forgot. A big 3-ring binder with
So wait a minute. Your 1-inch thick stack of cards is not it?
No. No.
Oh, I'm in so much trouble.
No, I have PowerPoint presentations that I put together because I've given seminars on beer styles.
Yeah.
I have a lot of different educational material that I built up over time.
Wow.
I'm proud of it. And my point is that my favorite thing to do, I took the exam twice, by the way. I failed the first time. It's not easy at all. I think it's a 1 in 3 pass rate on the version that I took. The current version I haven't heard. The most recent rates, but it's really challenging. But anyway, as part of my study of beer styles.
That's the first time. Drove right up on a curb.
And you're driving now.
I'm driving now.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Well, the fun thing about studying for the Cicerone is that you go to great bars and you find cool beers you never had before. And you sit down and you read about it. And you get to know everything you can about the style. And you talk to...
That sounds like really good studying.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a lot more fun than driving with your dad.
Yeah. Well, yes. I guess you're right.
So we need to move on to our third round. But, before we do, I wanted to mention, we've been circling around it all night. I'm sure by now it has become fully a thing that we're doing through the podcast. But if you haven't heard about it yet, we're actually starting a book club. And our first book is Josh Christie, who lives here in Maine. He writes books. He was on the show.
Oh, cool.
He wrote a book about stouts and porters.
Nice.
And we're going to start with that book. So if you haven't done so yet, please make sure that you come and you join our book club. And I think I need to get this book on there, on our list. It'll be after we get going. The Tasting Beer, An Insider's Guide to the World's Greatest Drink. Oh, I love that so much, by Randy Mosher. So we're going to add that to the list, too. I don't know if it'll be our second or third book, but I'll probably coincide it with whenever I decide to go for my Cicerone or at least my beer server. I got to get one of them to start, right? I got to do it.
You got to do it. I think
got to do it. So before...
That was a good plug, by the way. What's the name of the book again that you're... that the Maine wrote? What's it?
I can't remember.
It's on porters and stouts?
It's on porters and stouts, yeah.
And you can't remember the name. But
no,
his name
I wasn't
is...
prepared. Josh Christie.
So if we Google Josh Christie...
It'll be in the show notes.
Oh, perfect.
Right. And we're also going to make sure you listen to the very end of this episode because I will have a number for you to text so that you get a link for a discount to the book. It's going to be fabulous.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I love reading. I read
and
so
it's Christmas
much.
time.
Yes, it's just about Christmas time.
So you get the book, and you go get a really good beer, and you get you can gift for all your friends.
Here you go.
You get a discount if you buy a bunch of books.
Well, no, for the book, one book.
For the book.
Yeah, it's going to be fabulous, though. And yeah, I just am insatiable. I have an insatiable curiosity. I devour books.
Right. I got
I'm
the
so
beer to
excited.
recommend. Well, no, I don't actually, because the beer I was going to recommend doesn't go with that book. I'll have to think about that.
All right. Maybe we can do a special segment every once in a while where Sam tells us what beer to drink with our book. Okay, so round 3. This is one of my favorite rounds because I love getting to know people on a deeper level. And how better to do that than ask about my favorite beverage, beer, and ask your first beer memory.
I love this. So I have 2 that I have lots of beer memories, but I guess what I want to share with you, because you prepped me on this earlier, and I thought of 2 things I want to share with you.
Okay.
One's sentimental and one's fun. So what do you want first, fun or sentimental?
Let's do sentimental first and then fun, because that'll lead well into our 4th round.
So sentimental is my old man.
Okay.
His name, well, he's Dad to me, but
Right.
my name is Sam Brown, but I was nicknamed by him Sam. We both shared the name Lawrence. He went by Larry. And my mom said, we're not going to have 2 Larrys. And fortunately, she said, we're not going to call this kid Lawrence. And my dad said, well, my mom said, what should we call him? And my dad loved to spend time in bars.
Yeah.
And he always would say to the bartender when he needed to order a beer, hey, Sam, can I have a Ballantine Ale?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So my dad was a Ballantine Ale drinker. What I remember about it is he drank 12-ounce cans. And I remember, sort of sneaking a sip here and there when we were really kids, and it really wasn't even sneaking because my dad his attitude was, oh yeah, let him try it, so we did, and we didn't like it at all, and it was good, which to me is the best thing about letting a kid try a beer, is because they shouldn't drink it until they're ready. But that's my sentimental one, is my old man, my dad, Ballantine Ale. I've had it a few times since, and it's not a drink for me. But we do sell it at Pine State, and I think it's a great throwback brand.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to drink kind of in that category or that realm, Ballantine Ale is an authentic brand. As long as you're not driving, can I swear on this one?
No.
Okay. Well, it would get you something.
Up.
No, it rhymes with witty.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, that's my sentimental beer.
Okay, wait, before you move on, I love nostalgic beers. There's certain things, I don't drink PBRs very much anymore, but I used to play wiffle ball. And PBR is a great wiffle ball beer.
Sure.
Right? And I completely understand those things. So there's sometimes, I'm sure even now you kind of look at them and you're like, I'm just going to have one for Dad. I don't know if that's true, but that's the way I would be.
I haven't had one in a long time, but I should. I will. I'll probably get together with my brothers and be like, guys, let's pick up a 6-pack of Ballantine for Dad.
Yeah, and that's so special to me. And my daughter actually tried the sneaky thing to me on tonight.
Nice.
She didn't. She just likes to pretend she does stuff sometimes. But she's like, I looked away and she's like, that's good. I was like, did you try that beer? And she's like, yeah, it's tasty. And I could tell by then she was like.
So I mean this in all seriousness. I have worked, as I said, for 20 years for Pine State. And before that, I worked in the restaurant business I started when I was 15 years old. So 35 years on the hospitality side of things. And I am proud to say that I have advocated for and worked professionally in the responsible enjoyment of alcohol. And I think that it's really important for people to talk about and think about, and that the best way to help with our young people drinking responsibly is to talk openly about it and teach them about it and let them learn. And no matter what age we are, we got to lead by example. We've got to. Anyway, enough said. I don't want to preach. But
No, absolutely. I mean, one thing that I really like about the generation that I'm in is all of our children are really growing up as brewery kids.
Yes.
I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they are at the breweries a lot.
That's cool.
Mama's a podcaster. We'll have my husband and I, not we as in me and the kids, but we'll go and my husband and I'll have a beer and then we're done. And that's it. And we're just trying different things. And the kids smell them. Like, that is the big thing. Like, Charlie, my little one, she's 2. If you have a beer in your hand, she will come running to smell it. Although, I think that if we left it, she would also taste it. Like, she's at that point where she's like, I'm going to drink your beer and your coffee. We're going to be in trouble with her.
Have you ever read The Pillars of the Earth?
I haven't.
So, I bring it up only because the real thought that I had there while you were talking is that, beer is this crazy beverage. It's been around for thousands of years.
Yeah.
What was one of its most original and important functions?
It was something healthy to drink because it wasn't filled with bacteria.
Exactly. It was something that had been brewed, so it was basically water that had been, or was liquid that had been, it was called liquid bread.
Yeah.
So, and it was made at different alcohol levels for years. So young people, children, were given beer as part of a sustenance program.
Yeah.
And it wasn't this taboo. I mean,
Right.
it's the idea that we can only be 21 and drink is so arbitrary.
Yeah.
But nonetheless.
Right.
So
Okay.
you didn't give me. We didn't.
Next one.
We did our sentimental beer. Are we supposed to do our?
Yeah, go for it.
You were getting your cards ready.
No, I'm getting my cards ready. No.
All right. So what did I tell you? A sentimental beer. Oh, and a fun memory.
Now a fun memory.
All right. So my fun memory is, I told you I worked at the Crack. I told you where my first restaurant job was at the Crack Platter in Harrison, which is where the Old Mill Tavern is now. Do you remember that? Were you alive when it was called the Crack Platter?
I don't know if I was
All right.
because you said 84. No, that was when you graduated. 87 is when you started.
Yeah. Well, no. So I graduated high school in '84. I started working at the Crack Platter in Harrison in '81, and I worked there until it was probably like 89.
I was 8 when it.
Oh yeah.
was,
So the restaurant right down in the center of Harrison is called the Crack Platter.
Huh.
So I worked at the Crack Platter, and my friend Matt Hartnett worked at the Market Basket right next door. Mm-hmm. You know the Market Basket.
Yeah.
So our favorite thing to do was to have him make up a pepperoni pizza from the Market Basket, and this is of course I think back then the drinking age was 18, so we'd buy a 6-pack of Heineken in bottles, and we'd take my car, which was like a 1977, we called it a Schlomega. It was an Omega. It was like some AMC Omega or some old American car.
I don't even know those
No,
things.
you wouldn't know it. And this is like this big, crazy, sky blue color car with chrome bumpers and really goofy, ugly car. And we would drive out to some road where there was kind of mostly like a sand pit almost. Moon's out and it's starry out, and we'd open up the pizza and we'd use the bumper to get the crown closure off the Heineken bottles and drink Heineken and eat pepperoni pizza from the Market Basket after working all night on a Friday night in July and 19, probably must have been 85.
Wow.
So Heineken in green bottles that smelled like it was light struck.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Now, the sand pit, was it in Waterford? Because we have one in Waterford.
Harrison, actually.
Oh, I don't know about that one. I never went to the pit parties. They were like a thing.
No, this was just me and Matt.
No, I know.
No party. We'd just go.
But I don't know where the
stars.
pits are, is what I'm
Yeah, I hear
saying.
ya.
Because I never went to them.
Have you ever been to the pits?
I went to the Waterford one because it was right next to my dad's garage, but not for a party. Not with my parents. I did not go to parties. Anyways, it just happened.
Yeah, well, you were waiting to start your beer adventure until a more
really
responsible time.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah. So that brings us right to round 4. Round 4 is also a kind of fun one. I've got random questions here. So what I do is I go online and I say getting to know you questions, and I just write down random ones that I find, and then so I don't know what they are.
So you're going to ask me one and I'm going to ask you one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got to pick one randomly.
Okay.
I have my own flashcards, but mine are only like half a centimeter thick.
I'm not looking at it yet.
Okay.
Or do I look at it now?
Yeah, no, you can do whatever you want. All right, I've got one too.
Okay, who's asking first?
I don't know. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first? Whatever you want.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, I won. So I'll go first.
Okay.
So I had paper. He had.
She did paper, by the way. I did rock. Okay.
This is actually how I settle that quite often. Okay. So you ready?
Yep.
what is your favorite season and why?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't want to be hokey and say I love all seasons. I do, but that's why we live here in Maine. But I have to say I'm a winter person.
Really?
I'm born in December 14th. So I'm a Sagittarius. I love to ski. I love to snowboard. I love to walk in the snow. I love dark, snowy nights. I love when it snows and it's dark out and I'm walking. I just love snow.
Yeah.
So that's,
snowy winter.
Yeah. I can't stand that's why I have to qualify saying that because in recent years I've gotten into surfing. So I've become really a passionate fan of I love summer. I just love summer. I love the solstice. It's my favorite time of year, particularly the summer solstice.
Yeah.
But yes, if we have a good winter the way it's meant to be, I'm happy as can be. I love it when there's tons of snow, and I love it when it's cold, it's sunny and bright, and we can go just play in the snow. Ski, snowboard, cross-country ski, snowshoe, roll in the snow, go sledding, whatever you want to do.
Do you snowmobile? Do you do motors?
No, not much. No.
My dad was a mechanic, so you talked about how ugly your car was. One of my car, my dad would pay like $100 for a car, fix it up enough for me to drive it, and then let me kill it, and then do it again. Yeah, I have had so many cars in my life. So many. One with like a gold door, and the rest was maroon. One
you know what kind of car they were, or any of them?
I've had Malibus and Subarus, and I had a Cavalier. So many. Yeah. Oh, so
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then we would also have snow vehicles.
Yeah.
We had a snowmobile, and it was an old snowmobile, and it just poured smoke out onto you. So you got off the snowmobile, and you stunk forever. And then for Christmas one year, my dad actually turned an old lawnmower, because we had 15 of them, because that's what you do when you're a mechanic.
Into a Christmas tree or what?
No, into a go-kart. So it was
fun.
Yeah, but he had to put all-terrain tires on it because he gave it to my brother when he was for Christmas. So we had to drive it down the dirt road because of course we live on a dirt road.
What's your dad's name? Mr. Warren?
Wayne
Warren.
Yeah. He
sounds like a great guy.
He definitely has his high points. Yeah. But yeah, he would just put things together. Okay, your turn.
I have a friend whose name is Warren. We call him Big W.
Big W.
All right. Amanda Dowdy.
Yes.
I'm glad I got this one and to ask you and not the other way around. How many different names for beers can you think of? And I think here by names for beers, well, actually, this is up to listener interpretation. So do you mean names of beers as in nicknames, or do you mean...
Nicknames.
Okay.
Yeah. This one was actually given to me by a good friend of mine. It was given to me in a group that I'm part of, Great Pine Society. I'm part of this group, and there are a couple of gentlemen down in Texas, and I can't remember if James from What's on Tap Radio or Josh from Interbrews asked me this question, but one of them did, but it was a little while ago. It just hasn't gotten drawn yet. So, okay, I'm going to go with the nicknames one, because that's how I interpret it when they gave it to me way back in the day. Okay, so beer, brews, brewskis, suds, a cold one,
a pint.
A pint. Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you for the assist. I think I'm out. I can't.
How about would it qualify if you said a lager, a pilsner?
So we could do a style. So yeah, lager, pilsner.
So that's how I interpreted it. I thought that's what it meant. How many beer styles can you think of?
Well, let's see how many. You're going to be the king of this, so I'll try that one instead. So lager, pilsner, porter, stouts, goza, lambic, a goose, IPA, APA, just a pale ale. I think is a different thing.
That's good. That's really good.
That's all I got.
The crazy thing is that there's 75 styles.
Holy moly! I got 10.
You need to have knowledge of, and then they get into the weeds with sub styles and. All right, you tell me where are we at in our little interview?
We are just about coming to an end.
All right, so this is a good time for me to segue into that because beer styles.
Go for it.
So my favorite style that you didn't name, it's called the strong or Belgian strong golden.
Oh, I wouldn't have gotten the golden. But then that gets me into strong bitters, and I'm good. Wits, I can keep going. It just takes me a minute. All right. Go
Yeah,
for
you
it.
can keep going. It's hard when it's put on the spot like that, but what I find is good if you break it down and you go by region. You start in England, and then go to Ireland, and go to Scotland, and then go to Germany, and regions in Germany, and then go to Belgium. And
That would not help me. Geography is not a plus for me.
But this
Thank
is
you.
this is where I think that what's really great about Certified Cicerone is that deepening our knowledge as a consumer, as a beer drinker, as a beer lover, about the classic styles, the styles that led the charge, if you will, or that have historical context.
Yes.
Understanding them provides a bit of a reflection so that you have even greater appreciation for the innovative and sort of new frontier beers of today.
Right.
And I thought at one point you were going to ask me, what's your favorite beer to drink?
Sure. What is your favorite? You told us it's a Belgian strong golden
ale. Do you
yeah.
know which one, though? It's a very specific brand.
Oh.
Can you name any?
No, I don't even know any strong Goldens.
So the iconic brand is called Duvel.
Oh, no, I know Duvel.
Yeah, some people say Duvel. Look, I don't speak... it's not Belgian. What do they speak there in Belgium? They speak Dutch. So I'm passionate about Belgian beers. And one of the reasons I think is because, to me, they're the most wine-like. They're the most complex and have the most sort of layers and are, I think, in some ways the best with foods. But Duvel means devil.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you study the styles of Belgian Strong Golden, many of them are nicknamed for devil nicknames. Like there's one called Lucifer, I think, which is...
Yes, I was going to say that one because once you started describing it, we've actually had a Lucifer here on the show, and I was like, why is this called Lucifer? It doesn't make sense. I was expecting something with, like, jalapenos in it because it was like... And then it was like this Belgian ale, and I was like, okay.
Well, so the Belgian Strong Golden, or Duvel in particular, which is my all-time favorite, and I should know really the specific reason it's called Duvel, and I'm going to tell you sort of anecdotally why it's called Duvel, and your listeners should check this. But essentially, it's called the devil because it really sneaks up on you. It's this beer that it looks so angelic in the glass.
Yeah.
It's just this beautiful gold color, SRM 3 to 5. Has this, when it's poured right in the proper glass, it has this dense, champagne-colored, almost like snow, white head. That's like literally, if the beer in the glass is 3 inches, the head is like 1 inch.
Wow.
It's served in this beautiful, very feminine, sensual glass that's curvy, has perfumed aromatics that come out of the glass, and this malt expression that is rich and layered and opulent, and it's like a true treat. And you sip it, and it lingers, and it's got quite an alcohol to it. 8 to 10 is accepted, 8.5 to 10.5. So you drink it, and it goes down like, I don't have a good metaphor for what it goes down like, but it's a dreamy beer, and it goes on, and when you finish it, you get quite a little glow.
A little hit there at the end. Sorry.
You want to take a picture of that?
I am. I'm taking pictures as we're recording here.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't want to forget. So
you missed the end of my Duvel. My point.
No, I didn't. Listened. It went down nice and smooth, and it just kind of comes up. I can multitask.
You're a multitasker. So the what I would say is that's what's great about Cicerone is that you're going to be brought into the realm of the historical beers, where they came from, where they originated, and I think it's important to learn an appreciation for American beers are very expressive.
Yeah.
Very larger than life in some ways.
Right.
Which is great. And I think it's important for us to also remember and appreciate the originals.
Yeah.
So that's my shtick.
You know what? I think, unfortunately, you've sent me down this road that means I'm going to have to now become a Cicerone just so I can understand all these things, because this stuff's, everything you're saying, I'm just like, yes, I need to know that. Yes, I need to do that. So now I'm going to have to study like I used to. Sam, I don't know. It's going to be a long road.
Well, it's a great adventure. I think you'll have a blast.
And I think I'm going to have a blast, too. But yeah, It's another thing that I'm going to have to make sure I go and I accomplish. If there's anybody out there that's like, hey, I want to do this too, find me, and maybe we can do it together. We can be study buddies, because this is going to happen. I mean, it's just going to happen.
Yeah, I see a whole generation of Amanda Dowdy listeners who are carrying the Cicerone flag.
We will carry it
going
proudly.
out and learning about all these amazing beers and the history of beer and the ingredients of beer and how to pair beer with food and what glass to serve it in.
I want to know all these things.
Yeah, it's important.
All right, I'm going to do it.
Final quiz.
Oh, no.
What question for you?
I haven't studied yet, Sam.
Well,
they find it funny.
So the question is, name the 4 ingredients of beer.
Oh, I got that.
Okay.
We did a whole series on it. Water, hops, yeast, and malt, in no particular order, because I know that water there's the most, and then malt is the second most, and then hops, and then yeast is added after they're all put together.
Boom, you got it.
Yeah, no, we did that. It was great. We spent an hour talking about water. It was awesome.
I'll bet. Who was your guest?
Nathan Sanborn, back on episode 6, I believe.
And what's Nathan's claim to fame?
Oh, he is the head brewer at Rising Tide.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Water is so important.
It is, and they make their goza with seawater. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Sam Brown. We are going to put all kinds of links in the show notes.
Oh, good. Cool.
So make sure you check them out, listeners. I just really appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here. I'm honored, and I would say to you and to your listeners that if they have questions, feel free to shoot me an email or whatever. I'm happy to.
Perfect. Are
be a
you
resource.
on social media?
I have a Facebook page.
Well, there you go.
I'm not really a Twitter guy.
Well, if you would like to get in touch with Sam, reach out to me and I'll give you his email. I'm not going to just go and put that all over.
Fine.
I'm not going to put that all over the show notes. But if you have a specific question that you would like to talk to Sam about, reach out to me. I'll have my email in the show notes, and I'll get you.
You got to teach me about how to do a podcast.
I will teach you all about it. It'll be fabulous. We'll call it the Maine Cicerone, right?
Yes.
It'll be fabulous.
I love it.
Cheers to you, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. A very special thanks to Sam for taking the time to sit down and chat with me. I am quite excited and very nervous to see how this adventure turns out. To find links to everything we talked about on today's episode, go to greatbeeradventure.com/071. And if you want to become study buddies, hit me up on Twitter @GreatBeerADV. Join me next week as we stop in New Jersey to see how they do beer at Flying Fish Brewing Company. If you all, our fabulous co-adventurers, would like to support the show, check out our Patreon page. For less than the cost of a beer, you can show us some love. Go to greatbeeradventure.com/support. If you want to see even more from our adventures, follow us on Instagram @GreatBeerAdventure. And be sure to subscribe to the show. That way, you won't miss a thing. Great Beer Adventure is part of the Great Pint Society. Cheers.